On today's Minute of the Apes, you can tell it's Friday when I say who's got the teas, and you hear this.
Two kids sticking damn dirty ape. Exercise with an ape maker, human down. Then talks. With a divine bound. We are determined to know what the apes want. War or peace? They are a good human, is a dead human.
And if it is man's destiny one day to be dominated, then, oh, please, God, let him be dominated by such as you.
Hello and welcome to Minute of the Apes, the daily podcast where we break down every minute of the Planet of the Apes movies 1 minute at a time. I'm Todd. I've got Sean and Richard with me on the line, even though they are doing nothing but going, how are you guys today?
All right.
I was really hoping you were going to go, So here we are, the last episode of the week where we are going to fight through the differences between Sean watching the extended cut and Richard and I being pulled into believing we were watching the correct cut, but watching the theatrical cut. So, with minute 65, Sean, tell us what you have going on in your extended cut of Conquest of the Planet of the Apes.
Minute 65, I have the ape still climbing the stairs, and it ends with a shot of an empty escalator.
Okay. Richard, tell us what we have in the theatrical cut of Conquest of the Planet of the Apes.
We have... we continue past the escalator and we get to, past the escalator, we get to,
Okay.
We go past the empty escalator to continued troop marchings and the beginning of what we saw those apes walking out with. From the underground area, we get to see them moving into the courtyard.
Right. All right. So, Sean, we are going to listen first to your version, which is the extended cut. So here is minute 65, the extended cut of Conquest of the Planet of the Apes.
Governor Breck has just issued this order to all civilians. Go to your homes, stay in your home, and lock your doors. Above all, do not panic. Repeat, go to your homes, stay in your homes, and lock your doors. The situation can be kept under control provided our defense forces are given complete freedom of movement.
And now, here is minute 65 from the theatrical cut, which is the version Richard and I listened to, Conquest of the Planet of the Apes.
Not panic. Repeat, go to your homes, stay in your homes, and lock your doors. The situation can be kept under control provided our defense forces are given complete freedom of movement.
Tasman 65, you got a courtyard with the gorillas, chimpanzees, orangutans, imported apes, Caesars. We lost some apes in the revolution. We've got a planet worth of humans, -1 Armando, lots of guards and ape management, including that one deep fried one. And now we've also lost apes as well.
So remind me again, Sean, where does your minute begin?
With the apes still climbing up the stairs holding the gas cans.
Okay. So from that standpoint, I'm going to try and look back. I'm looking back 30 seconds, yeah, and it's off by more than 30 seconds if you're in the climbing upstairs, but we get that weird factory and the one. It's funny, I hadn't noticed it, but climbing on its hands and everything, even though not all of them are doing it. And then we get the ominous shot once again of the grate that's telling us information.
Right.
But now the grate has a dot in the middle of it, at least.
Right. This one is a different grate that looks a little more like a speaker.
A little more speakerish, yeah.
Yeah, this does have a little more speaker element to it.
So, and like 2 minutes ago, the announcer was telling people they need to go home and, stay home until we give you a further announcement. And now he's telling them to do that again. So people were like, fuck you, and I'm not going to go home?
Well, I mean, he did scare the shit out of them by telling them that the future is in jeopardy because of Zero and Cornelius, and now this talking ape is now rioting in the middle of the city, which we're not really seeing yet. But he did scare them. And this next one, it starts off with, and this was not in the script, by the way. Dane did not write this. Governor Breck has issued a statement. So this is Governor Breck's statement to tell everybody to stay indoors.
But this should have been the point. Don't give me the same information twice if it's not meant to build tension that somehow nothing's changed. Instead, why is this not the point where security guards have now moved in and are pushing people out of the plaza? So we see the building tension. Instead, we get the weird, it's black. You get one little
It's hard to see, yeah.
I've been watching, I don't think I told you guys this, Abby wanted to watch Handmaid's Tale, and you look at how beautifully constructed that is from a visual storytelling element, how the colors work, how the people with money and privilege wear these green things like this, the handmaids are red, the Marthas are kind of drably gray. You can see this. Everybody in this damn movie just wears black.
They do.
You can't tell anything.
And they don't like turning on lights.
Well, I complained earlier when Caesar was moving around the city before his capture, how dark the city is. Mm-hmm. And, I just know what it was. Sorry, it was when the apes were marching on the command center. And Todd, you talked about the fact that you liked that you couldn't really see them very well. But now looking at the people in the plaza, I don't know that it was a choice. I think they're just not shooting it well. Yeah. I just think that they're just, because it's the same lighting for every single scene in the plaza.
It's awful. It literally is like they have one key light. And in fact, so I'm looking at a shot, and it's right after we get the shot of people going down the escalator. So we get the grate with the dot. We get people. Oh, I think I went too far.
Yeah, go back to before the escalator, because right after you see the speaker, when he's saying go to your homes, they pan around, and down that alley or down that street, every light is turned off. Well, and they have lights there, but they're all off.
So the shot immediately following the escalator looks like the same camera setup without people in it. And what catches me here is that if you look, it's almost like they have one key light lighting that little bench area.
Yeah, right up front, yeah.
And then they maybe have one smaller little pop light
way in the back
that's just sort of kissing over something so it reads, but it... is this really what slashing the budget did? Was that they couldn't illuminate these nights, or what was Thompson intentionally trying to go for? There's no light.
But the bench that is illuminated, if you look right above it, that is a light, and right down, 20 feet from it is another light. They have and the escalator scenes, they have those exact same lights, but they're turned on there. So I don't know why these aren't turned on.
But what I wonder is, and this really is something you do have to worry about, is that the color temperature of that light might be incorrect for what they're shooting. It could be a blue light as opposed to a yellow light, and that really will jack up what you're shooting. And they may not have had the money to address that. You can address that either with gels inside the light that change the color temperature. You can change bulbs. They may not have had the money for it, and that may have been why they said, turn the damn thing off.
So here's a question. do we go into eternal night in this movie when Armando is about to die, and we just stay there for the entire rest of the movie?
That's not a bad observation. It's around
well, no, I think
time.
we might have had a little daylight when Caesar was doing the montage of planning with everybody, people jumping, the apes throwing the trash and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But after that montage, I think it's pretty much night.
I don't know if there was because again, it's just eternal night now at this point in the city, and I didn't know if there was something being said about the flip in the movie of when that happens.
I do like.
We're never getting daylight.
Much like earlier with the governor talking about shocking people and tasing them and pepper spraying them. Now we're getting the corona all again because everybody has to go home, stay home, lock your doors, don't leave. It's the coronavirus.
I mean, the key statement here for me isn't that he's telling everybody not to panic and that he's telling people to stay indoors. The key statement here, again, this is not a Dane script, is when he says to give our defense forces complete freedom of movement. That to me was the ominous statement of what's being said.
Yeah. Well, obviously that's why that's why there are no citizens out there.
Right. Because we're giving our defense forces to have freedom to move. So we're now saying, hey, we're locking down. We're going into a situation of a police state for briefly. Like, we have to take control of the situation. You need to get indoors because the police are taking over. The military is taking over. This might have been a nice point to reference an incident in the past, why people should not be afraid of this or so on, or if we'd framed this, why this was an important statement.
Or, hey, people, this is why we do the drills every year.
That would be nice.
Yeah. But I mean, again, Dane didn't put that in there, but that's going to give us the opportunity to see these. And it's not a very large band of people, maybe 20, 15?
That's another thing.
That's what I was going to say. There's only like 25 people in that squad. They're going to be screwed.
Are they trying to cheat it and look like there are multiple squads coming from different directions?
Maybe that's why it's so dark, so that they can hide how few people they had.
Or that it's the same actors moving from different points. I mean, it doesn't feel like a rollout of troops. It looks like a very small squad of 15 to 20 people marching and just kind of moving around. If I could see them pouring from different directions in different ways, it makes it feel like they'd be filling into the area. But instead, it just looks like they're just kind of shuffling around.
Or why aren't they marching, double time it?
Well, we talked about that before. How many times have we said, just shoot me some boots that keep showing me, and those boots are coming from different directions, implies tons of troops. Going back to what Sean said, if they had just put in a phrase like, this is not a drill, that implies that they've done drills before. We wouldn't have to see them. These kind of things build tons of lore within this world that they've already drilled that the apes could go batshit crazy and come.
Yeah.
Also, I can't get past the lighting. While you guys have been talking, I'm looking at these shots. So I got a question, and I think I know the truth. If you're worried about we don't have the budget to hire a lot of lights, and it does take a lot of light to illuminate something at night to make it look like what we see. It takes more light than what we're used to so that it reads correctly on film. Why didn't they shoot this day for night?
I think they're trying to hide stuff.
Didn't they do that earlier? Didn't they shoot day for night in one of the earlier shots when they were doing some stuff outside?
I believe that there is a day for night shot. And now,
early on in the film?
Yeah. I wonder if Thompson doesn't want stark shadows, and I get that, and especially I just purchased his version of Cape Fear the other day and watched some of it, and the man loved his deep shadows. But for deep shadows to work, you have to have pools of illumination. And I'm looking ahead, and I don't know if this is in Sean's minute, but there's a shot of a guard that is from that little bench. Yeah. And he is so poorly lit that if you're not watching it, it takes you 2 or 3 times to go, oh, that's a guard standing here. He should be in enough pool of light to where he reads. The rest of it can fall off into darkness.
Or at least do the Nor thing where you put the light across his eyes.
Yes, do something.
I mean, if I were in the theater, would I be struggling this entire few minutes of like, what?
What? Is the lights on? What? Is the bulb out?
Right, yeah. Would I be struggling if I were in the theater and trying to watch some of these moments?
Going back to the idea of how few people there are, when we eventually get a shot of empty escalators, it doesn't really come off as finally the square is clear because it
hasn't looked really busy before, first of all.
Right.
We needed the officers to move them along, to Sean's point. We needed to see that kind of shuffle happen.
Yeah.
And they moved, and they cleared out quickly. If you think about it, it's only like a minute's worth of time of people milling about the shopping area to be completely empty. They got home fast.
They're getting tired. It's 3 a.m.